Hi, my name is Carly and I'm 17 years old. This is my story of how I was breastfed for 16 years. About a year after my birth, my mother stopped producing milk. More came as my siblings were born, but because of her production was declining, she wanted to feed us other mothers' milk because there was not enough. Due to social pressure and biased research, she continued to feed me past the time I needed to be fed. She believed the longer you fed a kid breast milk, the healthier they are. But as I got older, I began drinking it a lot less because my body was recognizing I didn't want it and I didn't need it. And that's probably because a year after birth, your body stops producing the enzymes needed to digest the lactose. The other mothers that were making the milk were being used and abused just for their milk because the companies that had bought them wanted money. They were impregnated artificially so they could continue producing the milk. And their babies were taken away from them because they wanted to make profit off their milk. So the babies were only given a small amount of the mother's milk. And when their production stops, they're killed. If you couldn't guess, I was drinking the breast milk of a cow. Not my mom's milk. So that is what milk is. It's breast milk from a cow. It's another mother. It's coming from another species. That is a mother. She makes babies. She makes milk for those babies. But instead of giving all the milk to that baby, they're giving it to us. We don't need it. We have no need for milk.
You've all seen the milk ads with celebrities and sports figures wearing something that's supposed to look like a milk mustache, right? Well, here's something they don't tell you. Pasteurized milk often contains alarming levels of pus,
Gross.
also known as somatic cells, which are the same kind of cells produced in a giant zit on your forehead. These pus cells, somatic cells, are made with white blood cells produced by the cow in response to an infection of the mammary glands. It is essentially the same liquid you spray on the mirror when you pop a giant nasty zit.
With some soy milk because I don't eat dairy.
Don't you? Why not?
Because it's disgusting.
Dairy is what we call a mucus-forming food. It contains pus and bacteria and viruses. It is actually the breast milk of an animal, and so you have to remember, it is not about hormones that are injected into that animal. It is actually the hormones that are in that breast milk, the same thing that we have within our own species of breast milk. Those hormones are not meant to be in a human body. So when they go into our body own body goes into complete inflammation. Our antibodies don't understand what these hormones are. There's one hormone called IGF-1, which is insulin-like growth factor 1. And when it's taken into the human body, it actually makes our pituitary gland secrete more growth hormones. So when you have cancer, that causes cells to replicate. So anybody who's got cancer has got to get off dairy as soon as possible, and yet Western medicine still doesn't seem to see the correlation between the two of them.
Canada looked very carefully at bovine growth hormone and came to very different conclusions than the Food and Drug Administration in the US did.
Milk increase mucus production. Is that fact or fiction? It appears to be fact. The milk protein casein breaks down in the stomach to produce a substance called casomorphin, which, as its name implies, has opioid effects, which makes sense from an evolutionary standpoint, as species survival may depend on a close maternal bond between infant and mother. The guess is that opioid receptors on the mucus glands in the respiratory tract may respond to the casomorphin from milk, which could potentially stimulate the production and secretion of mucus from these respiratory glands. This may explain why a subgroup of the population who have increased respiratory tract mucus production find that many of their symptoms, including asthma, improve on a dairy elimination diet.
Animal protein is far too acidic for the human body. In order to neutralize this acidity, the body leaches calcium and phosphorus from the bones. People have been misled to believe that milk gives us strong bones, yet the countries with the highest dairy consumptions all have the highest rates of osteoporosis.
The Western world is fraught with obesity, and yet we are still consuming milk that is designed to grow a 30-kilo calf to a 320-kilo cow. Milk's main purpose is to increase weight and promote growth in tissues throughout the mammalian body. Everything in milk, the hormones, the lipids, the proteins, the sodium, and the growth factors like IGF-1 are all designed to promote weight gain.
You know how weird it looks for a human to drink a cow's udder? That does not look natural. And you know what frustrates me? Babies actually drinking their mama's milk is now looked upon as unnatural and gross. It's like, we're not meant to be sucking on cow titties. We're meant to be drinking our own mother's milk up to 1 year of birth, or a little longer if you want, or a little less longer if you want, whatever the baby needs. But drinking out of a cow titty's fine until you're 80 years old. Milk for a cow is meant to turn baby cow into big fat cow in 6 months of time so they can be sent to slaughter for your meat. If you're drinking cow milk and you're a human, you're gonna turn into about the size of a cow. That's what it's meant to do. And mama's milk that you drank until you were 1 year old, that was meant to make you turn from a baby to a small child. And then you keep growing. You begin eating solid foods. You don't need to drink your mom's breast milk anymore, so why the heck are you drinking a cow's breast milk? This is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed. There's coconut milk, there's rice milk, there's cashew milk, there's almond milk, there's soy milk. Look, 5 different types of milk, and they're not actually milk, but we're doing it so you can get weaned off the boob, because you don't need the teat anymore.
You big baby.
Yeah, big baby.